Great North Woods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Today on Good Morning Maine, the latest on a deadly family tragedy that ended on the Piscataqua River Bridge.
Plus, we'll hear what Ellsworth police are doing to help them respond to mental health calls.
And we'll hear what Maine is doing to implement the right to repair law that was approved by Maine voters. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. We'll have all the day's latest news coming up in just a few moments. But first, a check of the forecast. The Labor Day weekend is finally upon us, and it looks like kind of a mixed bag of weather. Today looks absolutely perfect. Temperatures in the 70s, sunny day. Tomorrow, heading into the weekend, kind of overcast and gloomy with a chance of scattered showers. Not terrible, but then more sunshine right behind it.
I know, definitely a mixed bag. Here's Devin Biggs with that forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Friday. We do have some fog that's greeting us this morning, which is reducing visibility near parts of Millinocket to Bangor, and so far to the east, not looking too bad. So it's very hit and miss with regards to the patchy fog this morning. And we will be seeing sunshine today, which will help to get that fog out of here. I promise our radar and satellite is working. There's just no clouds overhead. We just have the fog that is greeting us this morning. So of course, once the sun comes up and gets that fog out of here, it will be a very nice day. Let's zoom things out right now. Again, we do see some showers and storms further down to the south by New York to Washington, D.C. and areas further down to the south, tracking off to the south and east. But for us, we're staying dry out there. It's going to be a nice one out there today, filled with a lot of sunshine. I mean, look how quiet Futurecast is. But tonight, partly cloudy. Areas of dense fog will be on the way yet again. As for the winds will be behaving themselves today, too, at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then maybe becoming a little bit more gusty later on tonight, but especially as we head towards tomorrow. So today and tonight at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. The winds pick up some more as we head towards your Saturday. So for today, middle 70s, mostly sunny, and a south wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour at times. Later on tonight, lower 50s, partly cloudy with areas of dense fog on the way again, and that south breeze at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Alrighty, your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period. A beautiful day out there. A lot of sunshine with temperatures in the 70s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
All right, thank you, Devin. We'll see you later on. Oh, the investigations continue into a tragic domestic violence case that ended in gunfire atop the Piscataqua River Bridge. A man from New Hampshire was shot and killed by police Thursday morning after he reportedly killed his wife and 8-year-old son. Devin Dagnall has more on how the events unfolded.
According to Maine State Police, it all started just after 2 a.m. Thursday when York Police received a 911 call from a man who stated he had been in a fight with his wife in Troy, New Hampshire, and that she was dead. New Hampshire State Police responded to the residence in Troy where they located a deceased female. Around 2:30 a.m., Kittery Police located the man's vehicle parked on the southbound side of the Piscataqua River Bridge in Maine.
The bridge was shut down for several hours to protect the public while the negotiations were attempted and the scene was secured.
According to Maine State Police, the man eventually exited the vehicle and raised a firearm. State troopers from Maine and New Hampshire responded with deadly force.
The male subject was located deceased in the water below the bridge and was declared dead on the scene. He fell from the bridge.
Law enforcement officers then found an 8-year-old child fatally shot in the back seat of the vehicle.
This death is not associated with the officer's use of deadly force. I want to stress this right now, that the child's death is not associated with the police officer's use of deadly force today.
Maine and New Hampshire State Police major crime units are investigating the deaths of the woman and child. Their identities have not been released at this time. The officers involved in the shooting have been placed on administrative leave, and their use of deadly force is under investigation by the Maine Attorney General, as is standard protocol. The Piscataqua River Bridge was reopened around 9:30 a.m., but the investigation is still ongoing. We'll keep you updated as more information becomes available. In studio, Devin Dagnall, ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
A man who was working at a solar farm in Surrey has died after being electrocuted. According to the Surrey Fire Department, crews were called to the commercial solar facility on the Surrey Road just before 11 o'clock Thursday morning. One of 2 employees working for the Nexamp company had been electrocuted and was unresponsive when they arrived. Firefighters performed CPR on the man until the ambulance arrived, but the man could not be revived. The man's identity has not yet been revealed. The Maine State Police are now investigating the incident.
The Penobscot County Sheriff's Office is looking for multiple people who they say were caught on camera vandalizing and damaging private property in Dixmont. This video captured the incident. It shows two people damaging a homemade Harris for President sign at a home on the Hog Hill Road in Dixmont. We spoke with a homeowner who says this is just the latest incident in a string of crimes.
We initially put just a yard sign out and it was stolen. So I made a bigger sign and put it on the tree, and it was broken off the tree and stolen. And just the lag bolts were left. And so I built a bigger sign, and 3 people came and wrapped a chain around it and tore it off the trees.
Well, Dolan says he's lived on the Hog Hill Road for decades and never had an argument with his neighbor. He says this type of behavior is disappointing from anyone, no matter their political affiliation.
It doesn't matter what names were on the sign. It's just disturbing that someone would do that. Yep.
You put the broken sign back up and you've added a sign.
I did, yes, yeah. Just that bad acts can't tear down a good idea.
Well, if you have any information about the incident or the people involved, please contact the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office at 947-4585. You can also leave a tip through their mobile app.
The Maine Warden Service has doubled the reward for information about the person who set an illegal gill net in one of the state's premier trout streams. Earlier this week, wardens were called to Magalloway River in Oxford County after a concerned fisherman found the net near a bridge on Route 16. It's unknown how long the net was in the river and how many fish had been taken before it was located. The use of a gill net is illegal and can kill whatever species of fish that gets caught in it. Thanks to a donation from a concerned citizen, Operation Game Thief is now offering a $2,000 reward for information that leads to the person responsible. Game officials say they're investigating numerous leads in the case and have been flying over the river and other local ponds to see if other nets had been set. Anyone with information is urged to contact Operation Game Thief at 1-800-ALERT-US.
The Ellsworth Police Department is making plans to expand their response to mental health calls in the city. Our Callie Warren with that story.
It's going to be another avenue for us to serve the community.
In Ellsworth, the police department gets calls every day, and many of those calls that officers encounter deal with some sort of mental health crisis. Realizing the importance on training and outreach, officers at the PD are taking a new approach. Police Chief Troy Beers says the department is planning to hire a mental health professional who will respond to mental health-related calls, which will help connect people with resources and free up time for officers.
And when we have something that's a non-criminal offense, one that can be handled by a mental health worker, we can kind of free our guys up to go to regular criminal calls.
The chief says around 19% of the calls Ellsworth police officers responded to last year were mental health related. Mental health issues are felt all around the state. Statistics from the National Alliance on Mental Illness Maine show that 25% of Mainers have a mental health condition, and almost 40% of adults in Maine experienced anxiety or depression in 2021.
I think that there'll be more positive outcomes when they can be met with somebody that has the time and the resources to really help get them on their journey to wellness.
No timeline has been figured out yet for when a mental health professional will be working with Ellsworth PD, as the effort is in the preliminary stages. In Ellsworth, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Last November, 84% of Mainers approved the Citizens Initiative question on the automotive right to repair. When lawmakers tried to implement the law, they found some of the language unclear, which led to the establishment of a working group to flush out how the law will function. That group met for the first time yesterday. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bichard has the story.
We are looking forward to giving Maine consumers the right to choose who repairs their motor vehicles as soon as possible.
Mark Gallagher sits on the Right to Repair Working Group. He also represents the organization that helped pass Maine's Right to Repair initiative in November of 2023. The working group was established by the legislature after their Committee on Innovation, Development, Economic Advancement, and Business Matters felt the language was vague and unclear on how to implement the certain portions of the Citizens Initiative. The House Democratic chair and Republican lead both led the charge for the working group.
It's important that we all come together over this issue and that it's not partisan. Clearly, we're on two separate sides of the aisle, and it's all about the Maine people and what they want and what they have access to.
That's a clear message to get across is making good policy and protecting consumers, and that's our primary role here, is to protect our constituents.
One of the main contentions surrounding the law refers to what's called telematics in newer vehicles.
Telematics is the technological term for the information that is passed on from the manufacturer to the consumer to be able to allow them to have access to repair their vehicle.
During committee hearings this past legislative session, it was revealed that some telematics data may include sensitive and private data on consumers, as well as the potential for cybersecurity threats regarding the vehicle itself. Representative Cullimore says this is one of the areas the working group will try to flush out.
I think one of the things that we are really missing with this is that there's clear language around what the independent entity has control over and what they don't and what they can access. For me, this is really about privacy of our data.
The working group is expected to hold several more meetings before submitting their final report and recommendations to the legislature in February. At the State House, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
All right, the time now is 8:11. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, we'll hear about a special program in Ellsworth that will help seniors pay for their property taxes, an effort that will help them stay in their homes.
But first, another check of that weather forecast. A beautiful day ahead today, mostly sunny skies with highs near 75 degrees, partly cloudy with areas of fog overnight, lows dropping down to the low 50s, things cooling off at night. Tomorrow, overcast with a chance of showers in the afternoon, highs of 73 degrees. We'll be right back.
Comfy, cozy, relaxing. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find rockers, recliners, sofas, and easy chairs. Quality furniture, affordable prices. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
You know, we can go into a room and have absolutely nothing in there, nothing on the windows, no color, no character, no tone to a room.
That's, I think, where we're strongest, is being able to help someone envision what's going to go in that window.
And we leave, it's totally transformed into something that the customer wants it to be. We've often been told we make a room look better just by leaving it.
At Toyota's National Sales Event, we've got a long lineup of vehicles for summer fun, like Camry, RAV4, Highlander, BZ4X, Tundra, Corolla Hybrid, Tacoma, Sienna, Corolla Hatchback, Sequoia, Prius Prime, RAV4 Hybrid, Land Cruiser, GR Supra, Toyota Crown, Ford.
You could get 1.99 financing on most 2024 Tundra hybrid and gas models, which could save you up to $4,400. Plus, get 2 years no-cost maintenance.
Come in today.
Toyota, let's go places.
Durable, sturdy, stylish. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find solid wood, built to last, made in Maine dressers, bureaus, and nightstands. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
The NFL is back on Fox for a season like no other. It all kicks off with a huge Week 1 doubleheader. First, Justin Jefferson and the Vikings take on the Giants.
What a throw!
Then Tom Brady makes his debut in the booth for America's Game of the Week as Dak leads the boys.
Holy cow!
Against Watson and the Browns.
For the touchdown!
It all kicks off September 8th on Fox, home of Super Bowl 59.
Now an update to a story we broke back in July. After an abrupt closure, the Toziers Market in Searsport is set to reopen, but under new ownership. On July 3rd, Toziers Family Market closed its stores in Searsport and Brewer. That happened without notice to the community or to many of the dedicated employees that worked at 2 of the locations. Yesterday, the announcement was made that the Searsport store will reopen in November under new ownership. Edwards Brothers Supermarkets will take over the store, and there are plans to be open again before Thanksgiving. The company owns 3 other locations in Unity, Trenton, and Dover-Foxcroft. Jeremy Edwards tells us that they plan to make some changes to the store to make it more user-friendly. According to their Facebook page, they're looking for the staff to staff that Searsport location.
Now, the city of Ellsworth is starting a program that aims to help seniors pay off their property taxes. According to Ellsworth's tax assessor, a state program for those 65 and older froze property taxes last year. And they say the program was repealed for being too expensive. And those who enrolled are seeing up to a 30% increase in their taxes this year. Now the city is starting a payment plan for those seniors who are affected.
They can pay what they can, yeah. If it's not the full half paid off by October 1st, then it just won't accrue interest.
Well, assessors say around 620 seniors in Ellsworth were affected by that repeal.
4 teachers have been selected as finalists for the 2025 Maine Teacher of the Year. Becky Howell of Wiscasset Elementary in Lincoln County, Allison Gilbert of Mount Ararat High School in Sagadahoc County, Katie Strait of Baxter Academy for Technology and Science in Cumberland County, and Emily Throckmorton from Bangor High School in Penobscot County were all selected to move forward in the competition. Maine Department of Education Commissioner Pender Macon said in a release, quote, "Allison, Becky, Katie, and Emily are extraordinary educators who care deeply about their students, schools, and communities. They lift up everyone around them, they're passionate about their profession, and are true champions of all students and schools in Maine." The winner will be announced in October and go on to represent Maine in the National Teacher of the Year program.
We wish them all the best of luck.
Yeah, a lot of work was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
The time now is 8:17. After the break, a new award is given to help promote jobs in Maine's logging industry. We'll meet the recipients who spend their lives working among the trees.
Plus, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz give their first joint interview since kicking off the campaign for the White House. The details as Good Morning Maine continues.
Transform your home with Ashley Furniture's factory authorized sale at the Furniture Gallery. A queen mattress and frame, a 6-piece dining set, a sofa chaise, a reclining sofa, a set of 2 recliners, or a complete bedroom set for just $595. 6 amazing options for under $600. The Furniture Gallery's factory authorized sale ends soon, so don't miss out on these incredible deals. Hurry into the Furniture Gallery, shop online, and visit our Facebook page for more savings. The Furniture Gallery in Augusta, Bangor, Newport, and North Windham.
Taking the time to savor Thomas's crunchy yet soft bagels.
Thanks, Tom.
It's Tom, actually.
Right, Tom.
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 You doing that on purpose?
Tam.
Tam.
How have we got to Tam?
Huzzah! A toast to breakfast.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
I needed multiple surgeries after my accident with a big truck. I called the Twos, and Lowry & Associates got me $700,000.
Call us. We win for you.
25 words or less.
I'll take Chan Chan Tay Tay, as we call him.
All his close buddies call him that.
Taking wordplay.
Oyster. You're so shellfish.
To the next level.
Medicine serving.
Dose. Every weekday.
Together with Corbin, you rocked it. You're going home with $10,000.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
In an effort to help attract, recruit, and retain workers for one of Maine's historic industries, the Maine Forest Products Council has created the Rising Stars Award.
Our Doug Banks took a trip to Amherst to speak with the first recipients of the award.
It all starts right here.
Working in the logging industry isn't easy.
You're always doing something different.
But for Aaron Stanhope and Dylan Willett, the Maine Woods is their office.
I love it. It's my favorite job that I've done so far in the woods.
Keeps you on your toes, keeps you busy.
Stanhope and Willett are the first recipients of the Rising Stars Award.
When Toby said that they made an award for us, you know, it's a special feeling for sure.
Those guys are gold, and you know we're going to need more and more of those people going forward.
The Maine Forest Products Council's new award is part of an overall mission to recruit and retain young workers in an aging industry. According to a 4Maine study, by 2030, over 26% of the forest products workforce will reach retirement age and will jump to 37% by 2035. And at the time of 4Maine's report, 59% of the logging sector was 45 years of age or older.
And the average age in logging is about 60.
Right now, it's a tough industry.
Stanhope and Olette aspire to keep one of Maine's renowned industries alive, and they hope they're not alone.
People should get into this industry because it's dying, you know? All the old fellas that grew up doing it, they're getting old.
Back then, I mean, them guys run circles around us young folks, but
the next generation's got to kind of pick up where they left off and try to keep it going.
In Amherst, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Congratulations to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
The industry has changed so much in the past few decades. I mean, just in the 70s, that's when they stopped sending logs down the river. And it's just such an iconic thing. It built some of the beautiful houses that we see in all of our neighborhoods. If it weren't for the logging industry, you know, a lot of the architecture wouldn't be around.
Always going to need wood, but now they need more workers out there.
I know.
So
yep.
Hopefully more people will join it.
Right.
Hey, one of the big last hurrahs of summer is now underway. You know that summer is kind of drawing for a close here in Maine when the Blue Hill Fair gets underway. It kicked off yesterday and will continue on through the weekend. The weather looking great for the start of the fair. It's a little shaky heading into tomorrow night maybe, but hopefully they get a lot of people out there in Blue Hill.
Yeah, here's Devin Biggs with that forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Friday. Here's another look at the fog that we've been dealing with this morning. Reducing visibilities down by Millinocket and also in the parts of Bangor. Bar Harbor's down a little bit too. You might see this spread a little bit more this morning before the sun comes out and mixes that fog out of here. Of course, the radar and satellite looking nice and quiet. I promise this thing is working, but thanks to the nice weather, it's going to be a great day to get outside with temperatures in the 70s filled with a lot of sunshine. The active weather is staying farther down to our south around New York City to Washington, D.C., where showers and storms were developing recently. More active weather across parts of the Midwest and even the northern parts of the U.S. too. But for now, for us, we are staying dry for the time being. Futurecast, I promise it's working. Lots of sunshine on the way for us today. Get outside and enjoy it. Coming up later on tonight, we had some clouds and some fog. Partly cloudy with areas of dense fog on the way. And coming up later on throughout Saturday afternoon, a small chance for a shower or two with better opportunities for showers on the way as we head towards Saturday night into parts of early Sunday morning. Some locally heavy downpours can't be ruled out either. So through the weekend, we will be watching for rainfall on the way. And some spots could see up to a half an inch and maybe a full inch of rainfall before we're all finished up. Locally higher amounts cannot be ruled out either. So some decent rainfall on the way before it moves out of here through the weekend. But otherwise, look at our temperatures. Our average high temperature should be 77 degrees and we'll be in the middle 70s today. Lower 70s Saturday. We're back in the mid 70s for your Sunday. Then upper 60s to lower 70s Monday to Tuesday. Middle 70s Wednesday. And then we start to warm things up a bit on Thursday as we'll be in the upper 70s. All right, let's talk about those dew points. They'll be down for a bit, so a little bit more comfortable out there today, but notice they start to climb Saturday, but still considered comfortable. But once we head towards your Sunday, here we go again. But thankfully, it's very brief for dew points. We'll be back in the middle to upper 60s for a brief time. And then we get a front through the Monday, Tuesday, and the Wednesday looking a lot better, where dew points will be back in the comfortable category. So otherwise, middle 70s today, mostly sunny, and that south wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour at times. Later on tonight, partly cloudy, areas of dense fog again with lows in the lower 50s and that south wind at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. And for tomorrow, mostly cloudy, some afternoon showers possible with highs in the low 70s and that south wind gusting up to around 30 miles per hour at times. Let's check out your extended forecast here showing more showers and storms Sunday with highs in the mid 70s, but then we dry out Monday into Tuesday. We'll be partly cloudy both days with highs in the upper 60s to lower 70s.
I served as a Democrat in the Maine legislature, and I voted for Jared Golden, but I can't do it this year. Jared Golden changed in Washington, and he's given our vote in Congress to Biden and Harris. Now Mainers are getting hurt by inflation and higher taxes. I used to believe in Jared, but he sold us out.
Restoration Pack is responsible for the content of this advertising.
This summer, it's time to get away with super hot deals on your favorite Hyundai models. All backed by America's best warranty. Plus 3 years or 36,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. Add more joy to your journey at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. But act fast because these deals will be over before you know it. Get in and get away now.
Lease a Hyundai Elantra for only $159 a month or get 1.99% APR or up to $1,500 bonus cash. Hurry in to the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
Mainers are tough as nails. And when it comes to quitting smoking or vaping, we don't give up. Because Mainers know every quit attempt is a step in the right direction. The Maine Quit link offers free help to stop smoking and vaping, including personalized quit plans and free nicotine gum, patches, and lozenges. Because quitting tobacco with a little extra help is more successful than quitting cold turkey. Quit like a Mainer. Enroll online at MaineQuitLink.com or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. Last night, Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Governor Tim Walz, holding that first highly anticipated joint interview. Harris asked to explain how her views have shifted on key issues since she first ran for president in 2019, including on the border, fracking, and single-payer health care for all. Her answer, my values have not changed. Mary Bruce has more from Savannah.
Tonight, Kamala Harris, in her first in-depth interview since entering this race, insisting her values have not changed since her last run for the White House.
I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real. My value around what we need to do to secure our border, that value has not changed.
Harris and running mate Tim Walz sitting down for that interview together as they wrap up a 2-day tour of battleground Georgia. Harris capping it off, rallying thousands in Savannah, as new national polls tonight show Harris now with a slight lead. The Harris campaign optimistic they're putting key Sunbelt states back in play. Donald Trump had been leading here in Georgia, but polling now shows Harris gaining ground.
One of the things that we know, this is going to be a tight race until the very end, okay? So let's not pay too much attention to the polls because we are running as the underdog.
Harris hammering Trump on one of the issues that will define this race, abortion rights.
Why don't they trust women? Well, we trust women. When Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law.
Well aware that reproductive rights have become a political liability for Republicans, Trump, who has bragged about appointing 3 of the justices who overturned Roe v. Wade and said states are handling the issue brilliantly, now tonight saying he thinks 6-week abortion bans are too short, and saying his administration would ensure IVF treatments are more easily accessible, vowing to have the government or insurance companies cover the cost.
Under the Trump administration, your government will pay for, or your insurance company will be mandated to pay for, all costs associated with IVF treatment, fertilization for women, IVF treatment. Because we want more babies, to put it very nicely.
Though he did not provide any details on how he would ensure IVF treatments are fully paid for, and his own running mate, J.D. Vance, has voted against protecting the right to fertility treatments like IVF. And in a statement responding, the Harris campaign says that Trump's own party's platform could effectively ban IVF and abortion nationwide, adding that voters, quote, aren't stupid. Mary Bruce, ABC News, Savannah, Georgia.
Meanwhile, a new warning from China following a series of high-profile meetings aimed at lowering military tensions with the U.S. Fox News correspondent Alex Hogan with that story.
The U.S. military is turning its attention back to the Pacific. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan visiting Beijing on Thursday, holding rare meetings with his Chinese counterpart and President Xi Jinping. The Chinese officials issuing a new warning, telling the U.S. to stop supplying weapons and tactical support to Taiwan, and also discuss China's recent naval actions in the South China Sea, which some regional allies say is part of a broader Chinese plan to dominate the region.
I did raise our concerns about some of the destabilizing actions that have taken place, including the ramming of Coast Guard vessels and unsafe intercepts.
But both sides are also stressing these meetings were aimed at easing tensions that have escalated in recent months. And Sullivan reportedly discussed the possibility of a meeting between Xi and President Biden at the G20 summit later this year.
In this changing and turbulent world, countries need solidarity and coordination, not division or confrontation.
At the same time, the Chinese military kicked off a new series of live fire drills, and the commander of the U.S. Pacific Fleet met with his counterpart in Manila, promising a quick response if China's provocations turn violent.
We certainly have prepared a range of options.
On Monday, thousands of service members from the U.S. and 9 other countries began 2 weeks of joint military drills in Indonesia. These drills are aimed at boosting operational skills and increasing the partnership between these countries as China strengthens its influence in the region. In London, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
And coming up on the second half of the newscast, your full forecast and all the day's sports news.
Don't go away.
This is your reminder to thank the friend who gets McDonald's breakfast for the group while everyone else sleeps in.
Don't sleep on a classic breakfast. Get a sausage McMuffin with egg for $2.50.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
It is said that the eyes are the windows into the soul, which begs the question, can a window have a soul? At Renewal by Andersen, we think so. When it's a window forged from fabrics and over 100 years of refined craftsmanship, the essence of who we are transforms into a superior, stunningly beautiful window. So yes, a window can have a soul. For a limited time, take advantage of this great offer. Find out why we are the better way to a better window. Renewal by Andersen.
If you have to ask why it's important to start your day early, here's your answer.
Get any size iced coffee in any flavor for just $1.29 during breakfast hours.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Friday, August 30th, 2024. It is also National Beach Day. Going to be a good day to go to the beach, too.
Yeah, right? Most people enjoy a nice relaxing day at the beach. This holiday was created to raise awareness about the beauty of our beaches while also calling attention to keeping them clean and safe. It urges people to pick up after themselves to prevent pollution along our coasts and maybe pick up hazards left by others that might trap or tangle animals. And I think folks who, would be receptive to hearing clean up after yourself are not the ones who are littering as much.
Right.
But I think this advice is like, hey, if you see some stuff and maybe you have a bag you were going to throw away anyways, pick up some stuff, some trash if you see it and throw it away.
It's a good idea. You know, I mentioned during our 6 o'clock hour this morning that I went to Sand Beach in Stonington, one of my favorite beaches. Grew up going there, and this is the first time I saw trash here and there, and it's become a really popular beach with people coming to visit, which is a good thing, but they left things like clothing and other things on the beach. Just don't do that. We try to keep our beaches nice here.
Yeah.
And, not only for ourselves, but for all the critters out there too. You don't want them getting tangled up in things.
I know. It can kill sea life.
Yeah. So anyway, this is Beach Day.
Yeah.
Time for history now. On this day in history back in 1682, William Penn set sail for the New World from England and later established the colony of Pennsylvania in America. In 1905, baseball great Ty Cobb made his major league batting debut with the Detroit Tigers. In 1963, a hotline was established between Washington and Moscow during the height of the Cold War. It was put into place in the wake of the Cuban Missile Crisis to increase communication after the U.S. and Soviet Union came very close to an all-out nuclear war. At the time, they had to go through different channels to communicate with each other, and it really did not help the situation. So they finally put in the phone, and I think they've used it since then.
Really?
This way, the president can pick it up and speak directly to his Soviet counterpart, and maybe, you know, not go through all these other channels where things can get lost and
Miscommunications
bad things can
happen at all levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. It seems like these days we're in Cold War 2.0.
Kind of, yeah.
In 1967, Thurgood Marshall became the first African American to be confirmed as a Supreme Court justice. Born in Baltimore, Marshall overcame many struggles to become an attorney and later became a prominent figure in the movement to end racial desegregation in American schools. He fought hard to secure us with Brown versus Board of Education. And in 1993, the Eiffel Tower in Paris received its 150 millionth visitor. In 1997, Americans received word that Britain's Princess Diana was killed in a crash in Paris, a crash that also killed her boyfriend and their driver. And in 2021, the last American evacuation plane left Kabul, ending the 20-year-long war in Afghanistan.
All right, for birthdays today, they include actress Cameron Diaz, who is 52 years old today. I've always enjoyed her stuff, especially in Something About Mary. You've got to see that, Emma. It's one of the funniest movies out there.
She's funny.
Yeah,
I like her.
She's great.
Yeah.
American businessman Warren Buffett is 94 today, and TV host Lisa Ling is 51. She's been doing investigative reports in recent years. So,
Gotcha.
Happy birthday to all of them.
Good for her. Yeah. All right, moving on now. It's going to be a beautiful day, maybe some rain this Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, today's a great day to go to the Blue Hill Fair. I think the Harmony Free Fair is underway too. I think Skowhegan has some kind of a brew fest thing coming up this weekend as well. So it's late summer, but there's still all kinds of neat things going on.
Yeah. Here's Devin Biggs with that forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Friday. We do have some fog that's greeting us this morning, which is reducing visibility in parts of Millinocket to Bangor, and so far to the east, not looking too bad. So it's very hit and miss with regards to the patchy fog this morning. And we will be seeing sunshine today, which will help to get that fog out of here. I promise our radar and satellite is working. There's just no clouds overhead. We just have the fog that is greeting us this morning. So of course, once the sun comes up and gets that fog out of here, it will be a very nice day. Let's zoom things out right now. Again, we do see some showers and storms further down to the south by New York to Washington, D.C. and areas further down to the south, tracking off to the south and east. But for us, we're staying dry out there. It's going to be a nice one out there today, filled with a lot of sunshine. I mean, look how quiet Futurecast is. But tonight, partly cloudy. Areas of dense fog will be on the way yet again. As for the winds will be behaving themselves today, too, at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then maybe becoming a little bit more gusty later on tonight, but especially as we head towards tomorrow. So today and tonight at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. The winds pick up some more as we head towards your Saturday. So for today, middle 70s, mostly sunny, and at south wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour at times. Later on tonight, lower 50s, partly cloudy with areas of dense fog on the way again, and at south breeze at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Alrighty, your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period. A beautiful day out there. A lot of sunshine with temperatures in the 70s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
All right, thank you, Devin. And before we move ahead, I want to say hi to Mary out there. Went over to the Burger King yesterday in Brewer to get myself a nice Whopper sandwich for lunch. And Mary was behind the counter, and I was covered in my paint-covered clothes and my hat like I normally am when I'm not here.
Right.
And she looked up, she goes, Craig, right? She says, I watch you and Emma every morning.
Aww.
So thank you, Mary, for watching, and thank you for your service yesterday.
Nice.
But
recognized you even though you were in your working duds.
I look like heck, but but it made my day. People are nice out there, and it's even nicer to hear that people are watching us and supporting us. So
people never fail to make me smile.
Yeah. So Mary, we hope you have a great day.
Yeah. All right, well, moving on now. The official Labor Day travel period kicked off on Thursday, and more than 17 million people are expected to pass through airports this weekend.
If you're driving, you'll see lower prices at the pump as well. Fox News national correspondent William Longinus has the story.
Whether you're traveling by plane or car, this Labor Day weekend expect delays with millions heading out of town.
Just gonna spend the weekend at the Lake Michigan and hang out.
Going to see some high school friends from Ohio back home.
Travel this holiday weekend is up from last year. Domestic bookings increasing 9%, according to AAA. Travel company Hopper says that's due in part to airfares falling about 5%. Analysts say travelers should expect long lines.
I was thinking they were going to be busy, so we got here, a half hour normally, like earlier than normal. But it's so far so good.
While the TSA expects more than 17 million to fly this weekend, even more will be driving. AAA advises getting on the road early or late to avoid getting caught in commuter traffic.
Avoid those afternoon hours. That anytime after 1 p.m., that's when you get a lot of congestion, especially in the major metros.
The one silver lining, gas prices are down $3.36 on Thursday, 46 cents less than a year ago.
A lot of that is driven by pretty sizable drops in the crude oil market. Oil prices really driving prices at the pump.
Experts say lower demand and a quiet hurricane season kept oil prices down. In Los Angeles, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
Yeah, those gas prices are good news.
Yeah.
All right, right after the break, Jack Webb will have our sports updates.
Don't go away.
Tell the insurance company you mean business. Call Joe Bornstein, right now.
Call the firm that has been getting justice for Mainers for 50 years. If you've been injured in an accident, call Joe.
Stay connected to stay healthy. Stay connected to stay covered. For all of us who are Maine Care members, changes are happening. Don't go without health insurance. Update your information at mymainconnection.gov by scanning the QR code on your screen. Don't wait. Maine Care reviews will be completed by October 31st. Join over 300,000 Mainers who have already renewed their coverage. Just update your information by scanning the QR code on your screen or visiting mymainconnection.gov.
Does your dream kitchen look like this? Or this? Or maybe you need a little more inspiration? Get it when you explore the complete in-store showroom displays at Hammond Lumber Company. When you find the look you like, the Hammond team will help you customize it, including accurate 3D renderings, so you can visualize your project before the work begins. Hammond offers delivery from any of the locations across Maine and New Hampshire and professional service after the sale. Your dream kitchen begins when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
A Marine, a vet. Our Congressman Jared Golden is getting things done for Maine. Golden worked to build a new hospital for vets struggling with mental health and substance abuse, brought Democrats and Republicans together to protect our lobstermen and jobs. And Golden is fighting to ensure that America remains the world's energy leader. Jared Golden is delivering. Call Congressman Jared Golden and tell him to keep getting it done for Maine.
The other driver ran a red light.
If you or a loved one has been injured in an accident, call Joe for a free case evaluation.
I highly recommend the law offices of Joe Bornstein.
Dial 207-CALL-JOE or online at joebornstein.com.
The Maine Black Bears take on the Colgate Raiders in their home opener, and you can watch it tonight at 7 p.m., only on Fox 22.
Quarterback competition in Foxborough is over. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for staying with us. The Patriots officially naming Jacoby Brissett as the team's starting quarterback. Head coach Gerard Mayo holding a press conference this Thursday morning to break the news. And rather than saying Brissett would be the starter for Week 1, Mayo said he would be the starter for this season. Mayo also says the organization is 100% behind Jacoby and that he gives the team the best chance to win. Also says as long as he performs to their standard, it's his job to lose.
There are a lot of factors that led to this choice. I think, the hard part is thinking in the short term and the long term at the same time. As an organization, though, we feel like Jacoby gives us our best chance to win right now. We can't go into the season saying, well, he's going to go X amount of weeks. Like, look, as long as Jacoby's going out there performing the way that we all have confidence in him doing, he'll be our quarterback this season.
I like the Pats protecting their young QB Drake May right there. And while football season gets underway, before we know it, the college soccer season all starts Friday at Husson University, and both Eagles squads have some high expectations this season. Starting with women's soccer, the Eagles bring back their entire starting lineup, and they were picked to finish second overall in the NAC East preseason coaches poll. Husson has been very competitive these past few seasons. They finished as the conference runner-up in 2022. Last year, they finished 7-1 in conference, but fell in the quarterfinals to eventual champ Maine Maritime. And this year, the seniors leading the way are hungry to get over the hump.
But we've got a very deep team this year, a lot of returning veteran players. This is technically the first competitive season where it's the entire roster that I recruited. It doesn't change the expectation I've had every season, which has always been to win the conference and go on to the NCAAs. But this year I know that the fire is burning in these seniors.
It's definitely a fire burning. I mean, we've been to the tournament 3 different times, haven't quite made it all the way, so quite a few of us are ready to get that ring, for sure.
This team is honestly like no other that I've played for. There's the bond between the girls on this team is just so close-knit. I think we play really well together, and coming back from last season, I think we only want it more than we ever have before, especially all these seniors.
For the men now, they were picked to finish atop the NAC East, receiving all 6 first-place votes. This is the 4th straight year they've been picked to win the conference after winning it in 2022 as they finished runners-up in double overtime last year. Although there's a new head coach and a few new players in the mix, Husson has a ton of returning talent, and the culture and high expectations remain the same.
I mean, we wouldn't want it any other way, I think. Being number one is where we want to be all the time in everything we do. So.
New coach, same old returners, a lot of returners that coming back that already won the NAC once, or a lot of them hungry, a lot of them want to win it again, so yeah.
In the recent past, we've been doing very well, so that tells us that they respect us and they're going to come hard for us, so we're going to need to be ready for all of them.
Both teams open up their seasons Friday at home, with the men hosting USM at 6:30 and the women hosting Emmanuel College before that at 3 p.m. We'll stay over there right at Husson, where one of their student athletes just received a massive honor. Softball standout Kenzie Dorr was named the Division III Commissioners Association Regional Student Athlete of the Year. Dorr graduated from Husson this past spring. During her time as an Eagle, she earned a 4.0 grade point average, was the valedictorian of her class, all while casually boasting a .418 batting average, not just for a year, but over the course of an entire career. The award was a long list of her accomplishments, including multiple all-conference, all-region, and all-American honors for her athletic and academic achievements. Just insane stuff from Dorr. So cool to see her honored right before the end of her college career. We'll finish in Orono as the defending America East champions were in action. Maine women's soccer hosted Merrimack College, and it was a beautiful night for soccer. We will pick it up in the second half as Luis Renwald wins the ball. A beautiful move to get past the defender, sets up a shot, launches one from outside the box. Great save by the goalkeeper, though, so it stays a tie game. Now Emma Cornier from Merrimack on the counterattack, put the Black Bear defense, closes in, forces an extremely tough shot right here, goes just wide of the net, stays tied. Now it's Laura Kirkby with the free kick, finds Anna Phillips on the header that sails just over the net. What a chance for Maine. It just misses right there over the top, and one of the final chances, a corner in, multiple Black Bears get their feet on it. Just chaos in front of the net. Black Bears feeding for that goal, but they cannot find it as the game stays tied, and you have a draw up there in Orono. A great game, so many chances, but no one could find the back of the net. That's all the time we have for sports tonight. We'll be right back after the break.
Meet Stacy at Sheer Haven in Bangor. Whether you're looking for a total transformation, want to try the newest trend, or just need an expert opinion on hairstyle, Stacy is up for the task. For 15 years with a passion for custom cuts and colors, Stacy makes getting your hair done the perfect experience from start to finish.
Do you have a wet basement, nasty crawl space, settling foundation, sinking concrete, or clogged gutters? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basement-y. For over 30 years, thousands of homeowners throughout Maine and southeastern New Hampshire have trusted TC Hafford. Basement waterproofing, crawl space repair, stabilizing foundations, concrete leveling, and gutter installation. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems for all things basement-y.
Brett Michaels
Mardi Gras Music Festival, Labor Day Weekend Extravaganza, September 1st, Maine Savings Amphitheater. With special guest, Warren. Hit music mashup with Dee Snider. And Firehouse. Tickets on sale now at waterfrontconcerts.com.
She's the apple of his eye.
Ta-da! What do you think?
You look beautiful. And you're grounded. She may be a tomboy,
You're so lucky you get to be in junior G.I. Joes. And you're lucky I don't want to get blood on my uniform.
but she's still Daddy's little girl. Sit down, I want to talk to you for a minute.
This isn't a sex talk, is it? Because I already know more than I'd like to.
Learn all about Eve
Am I supposed to understand what you mean by that?
on Last Man Standing.
Weekdays at 3 on Fox 22.
Meet Stacy at Sheer Haven in Bangor. Whether you're looking for a total transformation, want to try the newest trend, or just need an expert opinion on hairstyle, Stacy is up for the task. For 15 years with a passion for custom cuts and colors, Stacy makes getting your hair done the perfect experience from start to finish.
The Golden Globes finds a host for the 2025 ceremony, and Kerry Washington guides an all-female army.
Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has the latest in the Hollywood nation.
I am giving you my best. Washington leads, Bad Bunny joins Caught Stealing, and Glazer hosts in the Hollywood Nation. Nikki Glazer will help celebrate one of Hollywood's biggest nights in TV and film. The stand-up comedian signed on to host the 82nd annual Golden Globe Awards. The ceremony airs on CBS and streams on Paramount Plus January 5th. Bad Bunny has lined up his next acting gig. According to Deadline, the rapper and singer has been cast in the Darren Aronofsky-directed crime thriller Caught Stealing. He joins lead star Austin Butler, who will play a burned-out former baseball player fighting for survival in the downtown criminal underworld of 1990s New York City. Y'all ready?
Never let go. Never let go.
Never let go. Halle Berry's big screen haunting is in today's first looks. The new trailer for Never Let Go features the Oscar winner as a mother with twin boys battling against an evil spirit to protect her family's bond. The psychological horror thriller arrives in theaters September 27th. A lot of people do not want us to succeed. Kerry Washington headlines Tyler Perry's Netflix wartime drama, The 6888. The film is inspired by the first and only all-black female battalion serving overseas during World War II. Washington leads as their commanding officer, Major Charity Adams. The film will start a limited theatrical run December 6th, ahead of its streaming premiere December 20th. Welcome to the Women's Army Corps. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Time for another look at that forecast. The weekend is finally here.
Yes, sir. Here's Devin Biggs with the forecast.
All righty, thank you very much. Happy Friday. Here's another look at the fog that we've been dealing with this morning. Reducing visibilities down by Millinock and also in the parts of Bangor. Bar Harbor's down a little bit too. You might see this spread a little bit more this morning before the sun comes out and mixes that fog out of here. Of course, the radar and satellite looking nice and quiet. I promise this thing is working, but thanks to the nice weather, it's going to be a great day to get outside with temperatures in the 70s, filled with a lot of sunshine. The active weather is staying farther down to our south around New York City to Washington, D.C., where showers and storms were developing recently. More active weather across parts of the Midwest and even the northern parts of the U.S. too. But for now, for us, we are staying dry for the time being. Futurecast, I promise it's working. Lots of sunshine on the way for us today. Get outside and enjoy it. Coming up later on tonight, we had some clouds and some fog. Partly cloudy with areas of dense fog on the way. And coming up later on throughout Saturday afternoon, a small chance for a shower or two with better opportunities for showers on the way as we head towards Saturday night into parts of early Sunday morning. Some locally heavy downpours can't be ruled out either. So through the weekend, we will be watching for rainfall on the way. And some spots could see up to a half an inch and maybe a full inch of rainfall before we're all finished up. Locally higher amounts cannot be ruled out either. So some decent rainfall on the way before it moves out of here through the weekend. But otherwise, look at our temperatures. Our average high temperature should be 77 degrees and we'll be in the middle 70s today. Lower 70s Saturday. We're back in the mid 70s for your Sunday. Then upper 60s to lower 70s Monday to Tuesday. Middle 70s Wednesday. And then we start to warm things up a bit on Thursday. Wednesday, as we'll be in the upper 70s. All right, let's talk about those dew points. They'll be down for a bit, so a little bit more comfortable out there today, but notice they start to climb Saturday, but still considered comfortable. But once we head towards your Sunday, here we go again. But thankfully, it's very brief for dew points. We'll be back in the middle to upper 60s for a brief time. And then we get a front through the Monday, Tuesday, and the Wednesday looking a lot better, where dew points will be back in the comfortable category. So otherwise, middle 70s today, mostly sunny, and that south wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour at times. Later on tonight, partly cloudy, areas of dense fog again with lows in the lower 50s, and that south wind at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. And for tomorrow, mostly cloudy, some afternoon showers possible with highs in the low 70s, and that south wind gusting up to around 30 miles per hour at times. Let's check out your extended forecast here, showing more showers and storms Sunday with highs in the mid 70s, but then we dry out Monday into Tuesday. We'll be partly cloudy both days with highs in the upper 60s to lower 70s.
This summer is the perfect time to get away with a great deal on your favorite Hyundai models. All backed by America's best warranty, plus 3 years or 36,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. Add more joy to your journey. Hurry into the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. But act fast, the hottest deals of the summer won't last. Get in and get away now. Lease a well-equipped all-wheel drive Palisade SEL for only $359 a month. Or step up and get a limited with $1,000 bonus cash. Hurry in.
Oh, another morning to savor the crunchy nooks and cranny splendor of a Thomas's English muffin.
Tom, which is a nook and which is a cranny?
That's a nook, cranny, cranny, nook, cranny. I mean, they should be teaching you this in school. Huzzah! A toast to breakfast.
John Brown first opened his own appliance store in Ellsworth in 1976. With his gift of storytelling, a strong work ethic, and a philosophy of putting others first, John and his wife and children saw the business prosper and grow. Today's third and fourth generation of family and their entire team continue to follow the example set by their grandparents and parents. Brown Appliance and Mattress, High Street, Ellsworth, a family tradition of quality, value, and customer service that always puts you first.
When Rage Room in Winslow wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Looking to blow off some steam? The Rage Room is the perfect place to unleash your fury, distress, and have a great time doing it. Call today to book an appointment.
Something about small towns. You have to be who you are. I'm Carl Elberg, Chief of Police.
How are your murders?
Unsolved. Everyone confesses sooner or later to somebody. I just thought there might be something you'd like to tell me.
Well, you thought wrong, Sonny.
I can always tell when somebody's lying to me.
Catching up on sleep over the weekend is not only rejuvenating, it may have an unexpected benefit, lowering your risk of heart disease. A new study says the risk of cardiac disease fell by about 20% for people who sleep in on the weekends to make up for sleep lost during the week. Scientists also say people should focus on sleep quality over quantity and recommend limiting alcohol and caffeine intake, reducing screen time before bed, and managing how much liquid you drink before turning in. The researchers compiled data from more than 90,000 people, with more than 19,000 of them categorized as sleep-deprived, which is defined as having fewer than 7 hours of sleep a night. The study is scheduled to be presented at the European Society of Cardiology Congress in London on Sunday. Are you an 8 hours guy?
I am an 8 hours guy, but I never get 8 hours.
Really?
I rarely get 7 hours the way I go. I usually go to bed, I go to sleep, usually last time I see the clock is around 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Then I get up at 3 and then, come in here and do my thing.
Right.
So by the time I get out of here, in about an hour from now, I'll crash.
Right.
And I'll have to take a nap.
I know, and we're a little different as far as how sleep schedules go. It's kind of weird to have to go to bed with the light still out.
So I get like 5 hours at night and then maybe an hour or so during the day. And
you got to catch up on the weekends.
Hopefully catch up.
You are the one that they're pointing at.
Doesn't help that I'll wake up in the middle of the night and eat a half a bag of M&Ms too. And then be
That's
wired.
That's literally what they said.
I know.
Did they say sugar? I think they said
There's
sugar.
Caffeine. I think chocolate has caffeine in it too, or something. So I do all the wrong things.
I get bad dreams if I have chocolate right before
bed.
And
I scroll right before I go to bed,
too.
and I look at terrible things, and then try to go to sleep thinking about all those terrible things.
I know. I scroll right before bed too. It's hard these days.
Don't do what I do.
Yeah.
Just
I get 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're smart.
No, I'm tired.
Yeah. Come to think of it, I could use a nap right now. I'm just so sleepy.
So sleepy.
All the
We
time.
got like 30 seconds left. We're almost there.
Okay, we have one more.
One more reader, and I like this one a lot.
Two brands partner up to create a sinister cooler just in time for spooky season. Canned water company Liquid Death is joining forces with Yeti to create the perfect Halloween cooler in the shape of a casket. The cooler weighs in at 85 pounds. It can hold approximately 378 12-ounce cans. Everybody needs that. Customers can't just go to the store and get it, though. Instead, the two brands are auctioning off that unique cooler with a bid starting at $1,500. Bidding is now underway, and it ends today at noon Pacific time.
It's about that much or less for an actual
Yeah.
casket. So, or DIY.
Talk about a conversation piece. Show up at the family barbecue with that,
right.
and people will be talking about it.
And on top of that,
Yeah.
it would be really functional.
Yeah.
Yeti makes really good coolers. They're
They're
expensive
great,
too. Yeah.
And if you're not using it as a cooler, you could use it to take a nap.
Right.
You know?
A really chilly nap.
A little freaky nap.
A little freaky nap. All right. Well, if you missed anything, you can head to foxbangor.com. It looks like we're about out of time for today.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Today on 25 Words or Less, she was running a little late today, so we had to rush her through hair and makeup. I don't think anyone will notice. It's Melissa Peterman. And joining Melissa are roller skating buddies Destiny and Ben. Someone who never backs down from a challenge, unless that challenge involves running.
Yes.
It's Greg Grunberg.
Never.
And joining him are our returning champions, married couple April and Adam. And now here's your host, Meredith Vieira.
Welcome to 25 Words or Less. Where is my Melissa? Jamie, what have you done?
Oh, man, that was so funny.
Sorry I'm late, you guys. I just had a... anyway, hi.
Oh, hi. Well, I've been meaning to say to you for years now, you've just got to deal with that little facial hair.
Yeah.
I know. And you know what?
Because it grows so fast.
It grows so fast. So let's get this game started, Vera, because I've got about 25 minutes before I got a full beard.
Well, we're starting. This is our final matchup series of the